Neymar's very popular in dressing room, but at the moment, there is absolutely no guarantee that he's going to be involved. Can Brazil win the World Cup? We're going to have fun finding out.
So, here with Tim Vickery on Flamengo Beach in Rio de Janeiro. Can Brazil win the World Cup?
They're in the fight. They're probably not favourites. It's been a long time, you know. It's been a long time. It's been 24 years. Do you remember the last time it was 24 years?
No, tell me.
1994, yes.
Okay.
How did that one work out? Where was that one played? There's an omen there. Certainly, I think they got their mojo working a little bit more since the change of coach. You know, Carlo Ancelotti, I think he's one of those elite club coaches who is extremely well suited to a transition to international football.
Why?
Because I don't think he's so much of a detail man. I think he's a broad brushstrokes. He's had enough time now to see what he's got. There are things that he likes, and what he's absolutely loving is the love that the players have to represent the Brazilian national team and the joy that they feel representing their national team. Because obviously his experiences in Europe, where for lots of players it's a bit of a drag, really, you know. But for the Brazilians, remember that they all live, work and play in international, multinational, multicultural dressing rooms. It's just a chance to be together, speaking their own language, singing their own songs, telling their own jokes. They love that. But also because that shirt, it is such an important symbol of the nation, it means that the moment when they line up for the national anthem, it's a magical thing. It's a magical thing. It is the moment of success. It's the moment where
Just hearing the anthem.
Everyone's watching them.
Yeah.
The girl who snubbed him because he was poor, the teacher who said he was nothing, the father who walked out on him.
Yeah.
They're all watching him, you know, and that's a magical thing. It can't be too much, as it was here on home ground in 2014 when it all went wrong. But it's a powerful feeling. And Ancelotti is really enjoying this. He's really discovered this.
What's his sort of rhythm? Does he live here? Does he fly back and forth?
Yes, he lives here, and he's made a point of engaging as much as possible with domestic Brazilian football. And also he's made a point of doing his press conferences in Portuguese.
That must go down well. Yeah.
It's brilliant. First, it's great PR, and he is fantastic at PR. But also, it gives him a kind of get-out clause, because it's a valiant attempt. But, you know, trying a new language in your mid-60s isn't easy. And it means that he's a bit limited in what he can say, and that's exactly what he wants to be.
Yeah. We see that in the Premier League, you know, like Unai Emery comes to mind, just somewhere where it's almost a tactic.
And so, yeah, he's done the PR very well, and it looks like they want to extend his contract until the 2030 World Cup.
Sure, you wait and see.
Well, I think he wants it now.
Yeah, I bet he does. Does Brazil always expect to win the World Cup?
Yes. Academic texts in Brazil will talk about World Cups that we won and World Cups that we lost.
Right.
As if it was like heads or tails, you know.
Yeah.
As if, you know, there's only one other team in there, you know.
Last time was Croatia in penalty semi-final.
Well, every time since 2002, it's been the moment that they meet a European team in the knockout phase. Every time. And the only time in all of those years since 2002, the only time they've reached the semi-final is the one that everyone would rather forget.
Yeah.
So it is a huge frustration. And as I say, I don't think they are the top favourites. But there is...
Quite an unusual position for Brazil to be in, really.
Yes. But there is a lot of attacking talent there. And would you want to defend against the likes of the attacking talent that Brazil can bring to bear against you? The question is, and it's a key question for Ancelotti, is how can he balance that out? How can he remember the game that brought him to his current position? The last game under the previous coach, Dorival Jr., away to Argentina, and Argentina without Lionel Messi. And the final result was Argentina 4, Brazil 1. And Argentina were unlucky to get only 4, and Brazil were lucky to get 1. It was a massacre from start to finish. And the team went with 4 up front, 2 in the midfield, and they were just absolutely overrun. No balance whatsoever. Now Ancelotti is trying to go down the same path, in that he's trying to go with 4 up front, but he's seen the dangers of that.
Yeah.
Factor in that the World Cup is going to be played in conditions of extreme heat. And if he does go with just those two in midfield, one of them,
running.
Casemiro,
Quite old, yeah.
is 34. Well, he's about to turn 34.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll know it. You ain't got it no more. So can they do that? And we won't really find out until the World Cup because they played in London in November. They beat Senegal. It was a great performance. But that's London in November.
Yeah.
Climate is very, very different from the States in June and July. So it's going to be fascinating. And can Brazil win the World Cup? We're going to have fun finding out.
So Brazil always expects to win.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk through the team. So you've got obviously Vinicius, but as a complete outsider, it's not packed with household names.
Well, you'll know most of them.
Gabriel at Arsenal, of course. Yeah.
Alisson is the first choice goalkeeper.
Yeah.
The centre-back combination.
It's almost telling me that Alisson's not very popular.
Well, it's a tough job being Brazil goalkeeper because quite often you don't have a lot to do.
No, everyone remembers it if you ever mess up.
Yeah, and he hasn't. He's had 2 World Cups and he hasn't messed up, but he hasn't made the big decisive save. There's that against him, but he's the first choice. The centre-back combination is Marquinhos and Gabriel Magalhães. The right back, I think what he wants is Eder Militão. The question mark there is injuries. He's broken down again. He didn't play any World Cup qualification because he was injured the whole time. If he's fit, he'll go with Eder Militão. Left back is still up for grabs. The fullback's quite interesting because traditionally we think of Brazilian fullbacks as being auxiliary wingers, the Cafu and Roberto Carlos. He doesn't want that, and it's not needed anymore. That was done in a time where there were no wingers. Now, what Brazil has got more than anything else is wingers. So what you want from your fullback is more defensive consistency or the ability to step up and make the extra man in midfield. Danilo is still in the hunt, the former Man City, Real Madrid, Juventus fella, who is usually, he's moved back to Brazil with Flamengo. He's usually on the bench. But what Ancelotti loves about him is he can cover any of the 4 positions in the back 4. Very Italian is. And a possibility, I think, of former Juventus fella, Alexandro at left back.
Alexandro, wow, these are not names I've heard in a long time.
No, but experience, solid.
And Estevao.
Right. The central midfield 2 are Casemiro and Bruno Guimarães. They haven't got a great deal of strength in depth. This is Brazil's weak point, central midfield. And as we're saying, he may not get away with playing 2 central midfield. He might have to have a third one in there. In which case, Lucas Paquetá, that's one of the things that forced the move. Paquetá wanting to come home, to shine in front of domestic eyes and just cement that. His biggest rival is a player called Gerson, who's been to Europe 3 times. He's ping-ponged 3 times. He's just come back from Russia to Cruzeiro. So that's a battle there. But if he does play his 2 in midfield, he's got 4 up front. That's almost certainly Estevão on the right. In the middle, Rafinha, Mateus Cunha, and then Vini from the left, which means no place for Rodrigo.
Right.
That's Mateus Cunha probably taking the place that would be Rodrigo. There you would have Rodrigo and Vini sharing the left, one of them hugging the touchline, one of them cutting in and both of them swapping around, which is still a possibility. So that, I think, is the likely side that we're going to see. But as we know, the World Cup is so often it's time speeded up. The team that starts the competition is not necessarily the team that ends it.
Team that grows into it.
Yeah.
Endrick.
He's done himself a power of good getting away from Real Madrid. The problem of going...
He's still really young, how old?
He's 19,
Wow.
just about turned 20. The problem of going to Real Madrid is they can only field 11.
Yeah.
And he went to Real Madrid at a time that Mbappé went to Real Madrid. And Ancelotti was the coach. I don't really think Ancelotti wanted Mbappé because he'd worked out a way of playing without the centre forward. It was Vini's best year. Vini was attacking the space, after they'd lost Benzema. So Endrick went to Real Madrid and couldn't get a game. I mean, the stats weren't bad when he did play, but they just didn't need him. So he's gone to Lyon. He started very well. He got sent off the last game, so he's got a ban to get through. Now, Ancelotti is dividing his central strikers, into 2. And we're getting onto the substitutes benches here as well now. One of those is your target man number 9. Now, you might not start with a player like that, but you need a goal and there's 15 minutes to go, and the game has been played in their half, you need a target man number 9. He loves Richarlison, who hasn't scored for Brazil since the World Cup. If Richarlison can get himself fit and do something for his current club, Richarlison is probably in. Igor Jesus of Forest is also in contention for that.
Would Ancelotti have managed Richarlison at Everton then, I guess?
Yes, loves him. Wanted to take him to Real Madrid. The alternative there is the hybrid 9-10, which is Cunha. Ancelotti's very favourably struck by Cunha. He's a striker who's played most under Ancelotti. The alternative there is João Pedro of Chelsea. Endrick is also in contention for that berth, as well as Neymar.
Neymar, yeah, that was going to be my next question. I was just in Santos and I obviously didn't see him because he was injured, but is he going to play?
He has to prove that he's worthy of a place in the team. Ancelotti is making this quite clear, because there's loads here, especially amongst the playing fraternity. Neymar's very popular in dressing rooms. There's loads here who would have him in. Under any circumstances, get him in. Ancelotti is like, well, what have you done lately?
Yeah.
And the fact is, he hasn't played top-class football, really, since he picked up a serious injury with Brazil in October of 23. When last year he came back for Santos, and it was just an exercise in frustration. He kept on breaking down, and we're expecting him back at the weekend. His first game in the Brazilian Championship will be after Carnival, which leaves him very, very little time to try and get in the squad for March, which is going to be announced, I think, on March the 16th.
The final squad for the World Cup?
No, that's the squad for the games against Croatia and France.
Croatia.
And France. In the States in March, but he's not totally ruled out for the World Cup squad because you've got 26. So you've got, but Ancelotti is on purpose. He's built the wall very high. He's saying he will only go if he deserves to go. He has to show that he's 100%. 80% won't do. I'm not carrying any passengers. I'm not carrying anyone who can only give me 15 minutes here or there. Modern football demands sacrifice and work as well as just talent. He can't play on the wing anymore because if you want to play on the wing, you will have to work back defensively, and he doesn't expect him to do that. So he's in contention for this hybrid 9-10. So this is going to be a powerful narrative line over the next few months, where every game is almost like a referendum on Neymar's fitness to return. Something that happened last week is that he turned 34, and the Brazilian FA didn't make any official recognition of his birthday. And Tales of the 21st Century, Neymar unfollowed them.
Really? Oh,
yes. God. So that shows that relationships are a little bit strained.
So far, people turning 34. I'm turning 34 next week. That knows when you're properly past it. Is Neymar popular in Brazil?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
He divides opinion wherever. For some, he's almost like a religious icon. The importance of the idol.
There's never been quite that crowning achievement.
No, there hasn't. Yeah, and
the Copa America.
He's never won it.
Never won it.
The only things he's ever won for Brazil, the Olympics.
Yeah. Was that 2012?
2016. Here, and Confederations Cup. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's never even won a Copa America, and it's very hard, really, because the bar was set for his career. Whereas, you are expected to win the Ballon d'Or, which is very important here.
Yeah.
And the World Cup.
Yeah.
And he hasn't won either. And he ain't going to win a Ballon d'Or. I think that ship has sailed. So the importance of the World Cup for his legacy, for his career, is absolutely vital. And this, I think, is going to be such a fascinating and powerful narrative line over the next 2 or 3 months.
What's the group looking?
The group is Morocco first up, which is an interesting game.
Semi-finalists.
It's also a bit of a best of three because last year Morocco eliminated Brazil, beat Brazil in the Under-20 World Cup, and Brazil eliminated Morocco with a goal in the last minute of extra time in the Under-17 World Cup. So, to decide it. And after that, it's Haiti and Scotland. And the Scotland game is in the afternoon heat in Miami. The Scots are going to melt, man.
Right. Okay.
So it's difficult to see Brazil not qualifying from that group. And then you get the knockout games, and the crunch one is going to be the first knockout game against the European opposition.
Yeah.
Because ever since they won in 2002, that's the hurdle that
not beating a European team in
the knockout stages. Every time, that's where they've fallen, which is fascinating, isn't it? Now, If you can't beat them, bring in a European coach.
So okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And I remember articles in the build-up to the USA '94 saying Brazil have to win it this time, or they can no longer claim to be the kings of the global game. Perhaps there's
If they
a
don't
similar
win it
vibe.
this time, then it's the biggest gap ever.
Yeah.
Is that a big?
Well, the
thing?
biggest gap
Since it was founded.
since the World Cup,
The gap.
since they won it for the first time in
Right.
'58. Yeah, that'll be a blow.
And is Germany on 4? Italy are on 4?
Italy on 4.
So either of those won it, that'll be a huge blow to the.
Yeah. And if Argentina win it again, Argentina get
4.
closer. You know.
Those 5 stars are just such a huge part of
Yeah.
being the best football country in the world.
Yes.
2002 is a long time. I mean, what? 23 years. So if you're 27 years old, you've
That's
never
it.
seen Brazil
Yeah.
win the World Cup.
So there
None
are,
of these players have seen Brazil win the World Cup.
there are
Casemiro
generations.
remembers it.
Yeah, there are generations who. Yeah, Casemiro, because he would have been like 11 or something at
Yeah.
the time, you know. So yeah, he will.
Same 34 as we were saying.
Indeed.
Yeah, same age as me. I definitely remember that 2002. Is it Oliver Kahn? Dodgy mistake.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one. Yeah.
Ronaldo phenomenon.
So pressure's on.
Yeah.
Pressure's on, and
Pressure's always on.
yeah, it is always on, and no one seems to enjoy that more than
Will
Ancelotti.
you be there in the US? No.
I don't want to go there,
Yeah.
and for a working experience, it's just so much easier not to go.
You just be at home.
Yeah,
Home
yeah,
life,
because then you can. I can do the Brazilian media in the morning. I can do the English media in the afternoon, and so on. And when you're there, so much of your time is taken up with logistical problems.
Yeah.
You know.
So did you go to Qatar, Russia?
No,
No.
the only World Cup I've done, I didn't do. I stayed here for the last Copa America. Apart from that, I did every Copa America from '99 to 21. I did all.
And they're every 2 years. Right?
They were, yeah, and it's now 4.
Oh, okay.
There were 2, and it moved to 3. And it's been all over the place. So I've done my
Yeah,
tournaments.
yeah. No, you've done your air miles. You just,
Well, and someone was telling me about the place where the final, the New Jersey,
Yeah.
the final with the.
I drove past. I went on a Sopranos tour last time I was in New York.
Yeah.
We drove past the giant stadium, but I didn't go in.
I was there for the final of the Copa America there in '16, and a Brazilian journalist was telling me that he had a hotel within sight, but you couldn't walk there.
The same thing happened to me in Texas. I went to you can't walk. No,
Couldn't
you have
walk
to get
there.
an Uber. Yeah.
Yeah, and it cost him something like $150. And look, I can see the place.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
The difference between this and Qatar is that the games go on much, much later. So if I'm working early in the morning, it's hard to get any kip, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the games are going on until 3 a.m, Brazil time, you know.
And you're covering all the games, not just Brazil.
Again, this depends on what you end up doing. Obviously, I'm covering the South American teams because that's what I cover. The games I must watch are the South American teams. After that, it depends
And
what
you
I'm
pop
doing.
up on BBC, say Colombia looking handy, and BBC wants someone to talk about it.
Yeah, and I've done that a lot the last few World Cups, radio stuff in and
Which of the
around.
South American teams have qualified?
We have Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, and possibility of Bolivia as well. Bolivia have the playoff.
That'll be their first World Cup.
First one since USA '94.
And Paraguay, I haven't had them for a while.
No, Paraguay, it's its first time since they reached the quarterfinals in 2010.
They reached quarterfinals.
Yeah, and they gave Spain probably the most difficult game that Spain had in those 3 tournaments in a row. The most difficult knockout game that they had was Paraguay.
1-0, wasn't it? That's coming back to me now. I was thinking of Jose Luis Chilavert.
Chilavert is 98. And
Was it the silver goal, Laurent Blanc against
yes,
2002?
that's it.
Yeah.
That's 98, that one.
But I couldn't think of a current player. Oh, Almiron
Almiron, Enciso.
and Caesar, right?
Yeah, he's Chelsea, but he's at Strasbourg now. Diego Gomez, who's at Brighton. Aldareche, the centre back, who's at
Oh,
Sunderland.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
But Bolivia, who's Bolivia?
Well, Bolivia, there's an unbelievable story that's just broken now. Wigan fans might remember him. Centre forward called Marcelo Martins Moreno, who played, I think it's 12 games on loan for Wigan about 15 years ago. He is Bolivia's all-time top goal scorer. He's 38. He retired from football 2 years ago, and he's just come back. He's playing for free for where it started for him in Bolivia, a team called Oriente Petrolero, to try and get himself fit to play in these playoffs that Bolivia have in March and get them to the World Cup because they're desperate for goals. I mean, the last 6 games they've scored 1, and they've been trawling around looking for a number 9. And so at the age of 38, play for free. The former Wigan Athletic striker has returned to answer his country's call, which I think is a fabulous little story. James Rodriguez is a great story as well, the one-time Everton player, because he is still the key man for Colombia. And the Colombia team is him and Luis Diaz and lots of discipline around them. James has just signed for his 12th country. 12 countries on his global tour. He's done nothing in club football for years. Duran Colombia never really trusted him.
No, too wise.
Yeah. Then for about 6 months, he was a flavour of the month, and he looked like he was going to take him up to another level. And then he imploded. Yeah. So he's been out for a while. He's just signed for someone. Just signed for Fenerbahce or someone. Yeah.
Zenit.
He was on Fenerbahce and he's gone to Zenit. This is
he's done the 4 retirement leagues: Saudi, Turkey, USA, Russia.
This is interpreted at Colombia as his last gasp to try and get back in the World Cup squad. We found out last year that another Wigan link. In the middle of last year, he got in touch with Hugo Rodallega, the former Wigan striker, and said, "Can you give me any advice?" And Rodallega said, "Yeah, just focus on playing football." He's so unbelievably talented.
I saw him score the winning goal against Bayern Munich.
Extremely frustrating.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, Tim Vickery, I'm from Mango Beach. It's an honour to meet you here. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. One of my favourite parts of the world.
Favourite part in the world, you think you said earlier? Is that Sugarloaf?
There it is.